Hey guys, it's Christian Singh here, back from C&H Small Engine for another informative service video. This one we'll be dealing with snowblowers right now, because what I have in front of me is one of my own personal yard machine MTD machines here. This video will be in reply to a subscriber. He asked me how you should properly summarize your machine after you get done for the actual winter season. So this will be a video specifically about making your machine ready to go for the next winter season, like November, December, because right now it's almost March here in Pennsylvania, and we are not going to be getting any more snow. So that's why I thought it'd be a good idea to reply back to this subscriber of mine. So this will be specifically for him, because he claims he had a machine almost identical to what I have right here. So this will be a summarization video for your snow blowers in order to get them to function perfectly fine next season. So I'll go ahead and first start here with the engine on here. Your engine on here, you want to drain out all the gasolines first and foremost. This one right here, you can do that relatively easy, because this engine is completely exposed. For one thing, you don't have any kind of shrouds or covers or limiting your access to the actual fuel tank and fuel line system on here specifically. And this is the older designed Tecumseh engine to be exact as well too. And this is their actually their Snow King engine specifically. In order to get all the gasoline out of here, you first must want to either run the machine out of gas, or you can simply drain the gasoline out of the gas tank specifically. And most of the time what I do over here is simply you take the fuel line off the bottom of the tank right here. I'll show you that right now here. There's your fuel line, and there is your fuel line where it actually goes into the orifice right there for your tank outlet piece right here for that. So in order to drain it out, you just simply unclamp the hose right there from the tank, and you drain it out, drain the fuel line out. You don't have to take the carburetor off for this one specific thing, but if you're more advanced and you want to go ahead and do that, you can do that. But if you just want to put it away and you don't have any kind of extended experience, as I call it over here, doing this basic stuff, I just recommend just draining out the tank by simply taking the fuel line off and drain the gasoline into a suitable container for gasoline, like a called oil container, or a small plastic reservoir that you can actually dump in your car and use it for your car, because you're not going to be needing the gasoline for your snowblower anytime soon. And the next thing is on this specific machine right here, this, as I said before, this one has the Tecumseh Snow King engine on here, and some of these models actually have a little drain valve on the bottom of the carburetor specifically. So I'll go ahead and show you that here right now as well too. The later models, they did not have it. I think it was around 2002, 2003. They discontinued having the fuel drain apparatus on the bottom of the carb bowl. So I'll go ahead and flip this one up here right now. Okay, bear with me here. This one right here, it does not have the actual drain bowl on here, so any way to actually drain the carburetor out would have to be to remove the actual main jet right down here as well too. You'd have to unloosen the nut right here, and you would have to take the main jet directly out of there. This carburetor bowl right here, this is actually one of the newer production machines, or I should say newer production piece right here. The older designs have a little cylinder-shaped spring-loaded mechanism, or they call it a tickler on the older designs, but this one does not have it, because as I said before, I think around 2002, 2003, they discontinued that specific design, and all the newer ones have the flat bottom of the carburetor. They don't have the tickler design built into them for that. So if you have a one with a little tickler with a little spring-loaded mechanism, you can drain the carburetor bowl out by pushing on a tickler, and that will drain the actual carb bowl out of all the fuel in it currently. Okay, next thing you want to do on your engine here is I have the actual belly pan plate taken off right here, guys, so you can see the inner workings of the transmission drive unit specifically here. So what you want to do is when you're putting it away for storage, you can see right here, let me get this thing up and out of the way here for you guys. Okay, there we go. Okay, you see this shaft assembly right here? The shaft assembly right here, you want to put a small amount of grease along here because this thing will get rusty over time, especially if you have your machine stored in some kind of like basement or shed that's prone to having a lot of moisture, because what we have over here on my place over here, our basement is kind of wet throughout the winter and throughout the summer as well too, because in Pennsylvania we get a lot of humid summers over here. It's called hazy, hot and humid over here where I'm actually located at, and I always recommend putting grease on this this specific shaft here for your transmission right here. You don't want to load it up, you just want to put like Mobil 1 synthetic red grease for your like bearings and stuff like that. Just put a little coating all along the whole shaft right here, because you have to have your transmission wheel right here for the actual drive wheel to spin back and forth on here, because if it does not function and slide okay, it'll start binding up in like first gear or fifth gear. So that's why I always recommend putting a small amount of grease on this shaft assembly. Just wipe it off like that. Just put a little bit of grease on your hands and wipe it off all along this whole shaft, this hex looking shaft mechanism right here, and that should be perfectly fine for any kind of long-term storage right there for that. That's why I recommend it to do it at the end of the season when you will not need the machine for any length of time after like say March or whatever like that. So that's what I recommend for that specifically. And it'll be also a good time to check your belts, make sure your belts are okay down here. This belt right here looks perfectly fine. This is a I think it's a Sten's aftermarket. This is a Sten's I think it's a True Blue or a True Blue Spec. I think it might be a True Blue Spec right there from Sten's right here, because I didn't have any specific OEM belt around here for this machine. Because this is my own personal machine. Typically, I would put OEM parts on a customer's machine, not my own personal one, because I don't have to really worry about that problem for any kind of warranty concerns for myself. So that's another good reason to check underneath here as well too, because we've seen a lot of machines have rat's nests underneath here, underneath the belly pan. So that's another good reason to check out your belly pan area as well too, guys. So let me get back up here again. Let me flip it down. Okay, the last thing you want to do is a two-part thing. First one is you want to change out your oil. There's your oil dipstick right there, guys. You want to change your oil first and foremost before you put it away for storage. I recommend putting either 5W30 or 10W30 oil in your machine. Me personally, I use Mobil 1 full synthetic 5W30 extended performance oil regardless of the time of year. So whenever I put it away here this March coming up, I will definitely change the oil, and you typically will want to run it for about 10 minutes. Make sure the oil is nice and hot and drain out, because oil will definitely flow a lot easier and smoother than if you start up and run for about 2-3 minutes, and it'll be coming out like molasses. You have to run a machine for at least 10 minutes to make sure the engine is hot and the oil will be hot and fluid in order for it to drain properly. And the last thing you want to do is obviously the spark plug. You want to get the spark plug out, and you want to change the spark plug as well too, so it will be ready to go the first time you need it in November or December the following season for the actual next winter season, I should say. Sorry about that. I also do recommend putting some kind of fogging oil down inside the actual spark plug hole as well too. I had people who actually left their machines for years sitting in some kind of a storage unit, and they did not do that, and they had problems with the valve sometimes sticking on there. And I recommend putting fogging oil down inside of the actual spark plug hole before you put it away for storage to basically keep any kind of rust from starting down there as well too. So that's basically my recommendation. If you don't have any fogging oil, you can probably spray some regular Rowlite and thin, like 5W30, 5W20 motor oil. Just get a little pump can and just pump it down inside the engine's bore right there, and that should at least keep the cylinder bore from forming any kind of rust or any kind rust nodules and stuff like that down there for that. So that's basically my recommendation for summarization of your winter equipment out there for that. So if anybody has any comments, questions, whatnot, feel free to email me here, or just simply leave a message and I'll try to get back to you probably within 24 to 48 hours after you post some kind of basic question, guys. So I'll see you again and have a nice day.